Uduasha city, where the sun is a mirror and the moon a shadow. 800 years ago, the gates of death were broken by the Emperor Immortal. The 5 key bearers, however, had already unlocked them and walked right through. It is in Uduasha city they dwell. Now, the ghost field breathes next to our reality, lit by the eternal flame of the well of Udu. It is a second skin, a place where thought and will struggle against gravity and light. In other places, the dead congregate in the ghost field, but in Uduasha, the well city, the hell city, they fall straight into the flames. See its glittering districts: Kshitijpur, where the rich plot to buy the horizon; Bunda West, where the refugees of 2 different nations flock; and Pasarhandu, the vertical maze of market and murder. And here is Udepat, where the ceaseless temple resides. Its inhabitants, a family, a snake, and a god. The temple has stood since before the gods of this world were forgotten. Watch as it turns the wheels of revolution. Welcome to Desperate Attune, an actual play podcast about people who take risks so they can survive against the odds. So, hi, I'm Tree. Welcome back to Desperate Attune. With me are my players, Aadiyat.
Hello.
Prince.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno. Klow.
Hello.
And Emma.
What?
Yeah. Hi, Emma. Hi.
Hello.
Greetings and welcome. Back to Desperate Attune. On our last episode, we spent some time getting to grips with the fact that the crew intends to try and break Freya out of the clutches of the crime lord known as Munna Bhai. He has apparently contacted a dangerous and tricky fellow called Lord Scurlock, who has appeared here from the city of Duskwall, though he does in fact travel all around the Empire. The crew, or rather Miraz, glued Hardil Subramaniam, who is Munna's lawyer, glued Hardil's pants to the chair that he was sitting on when he came to meet the high priest of the Ceaseless Temple. He then glued his hands to this man's briefcase and discovered inside the briefcase that he planned to meet Lord Scurlock in a couple of days. I don't think that you made any arrangements, by the way, to prevent anyone from noticing that Hardil wasn't... Oh, no, you did. You sent out some messages being like, oh, yeah, sorry, I'm really busy. But this is not the most well put together of covers. It's going to break down at some point. But, for now, you've done something.
It's going to break down around the same time we publish all of Munna's secrets, which I will remind you we are doing while we are doing this score. Abbas's newspaper is coming out.
Correct.
But the bigger flaw in my plan, which just occurred to me, what stops Hardil from taking his pants off?
I presume
his
that
hands
you have
are glued to
Padmapriya.
his hands are glued to the briefcase.
Yeah, but also I presume you have one of your cohorts watching him, making sure A, that he's eating, and B, that he's not taking his pants off.
He is being guarded.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I just would assume that Hardil would never take his pants off.
He's an Erenute.
This is a civilization we have here. You can't just take your pants off.
I will point out that you have met him 5 times in a sauna, so I think you're pretty sure that he is capable of this.
Well, that's
This man is capable of.
You'll stop at nothing.
Yep. Oh man. So yeah. You then figured out that he was going to meet Lord Scurlock at the most fancy 5-star hotel in all of Uduasha, which is in Kshitijpur. And
that Lord Scurlock had made special arrangements in this hotel, which is like this big, like shifting labyrinth, not labyrinth, but like, what is a word for like big complicated building that is not necessarily like impossible to get into or out of?
A maze.
That's the opposite of a labyrinth, so no.
That's not the opposite of a labyrinth.
Of course it is. A maze is something that prevents you from getting in, and a labyrinth is something that prevents you from getting out. They're the opposites. Have I destroyed you with this fact?
Now thinking about it.
Facts and
Okay.
logic.
Yes, indeed.
Well, if it's not a maze and it's not a labyrinth, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, exactly. Those are the two genders.
Let's just call it a complex.
A complex. That's good. Yeah. So in any case, because it is able to shift and change, the hotel management has been able to make a set of rooms specific to Lord Scurlock's designs, and Freya is likely being kept in one of these rooms. And everybody knows that the manager of this place is Taikarosi, and wears gloves because he has eyes on his hands, or that's what they say. That's why he wears gloves.
Isn't there also some sort of House and Nexus connection or something with the hotel?
Yes. So essentially, the House and Nexus connection is so the hotel is run by House Arsenic, because it was built by an architect of House Arsenic some 300 years ago. The House and Nexus connection is that they are very interested in this ritual that Scurlock is going to do because they don't want it to occur and they think it'll be very dangerous. The Emperor has sent a spirit warden as a very clear and obvious fuck you to Lord Scurlock, to be like, I'm keeping an eye on you and I'm not being subtle about it. And this spirit warden is absolutely kind of like sitting like in the lobby of this hotel, like reading the newspaper or something, right? Like being very obvious in front of everyone. But it does mean that like, now the spirit warden presence in Uduasha has doubled in that it has gone from one person to two people. And that is also like a big obvious move. And that's kind of why that was the risky way that the score kind of started, that you walked into the hotel and you saw, or like the camera saw the spirit warden right there, like at the entrance. But House and Nexus is helping you. So you have been like booked some rooms inside, you have an excuse to get in. But that's kind of like the limit of what they're willing to do because they're all about subtlety. So they don't really want to be like, oh yeah, we are obviously and clearly like, funding you. It's rather they're giving you like some help and then they're gonna let you do what they need.
I have two questions that I think would be good for the recap / to get us up to speed as well. The first is let's have a reminder about what's going to happen about the part of the plan where we publish all of Munna's plans.
Yes.
Yes. So
yeah,
let's go over that again.
The plan there was that we have Abbas's newspaper with all the the whole reason we got into this mess was that Freya found a bunch of his like alter egos and like people who he really is. And so we have an expose to be published with like all of these people are actually Munna, basically.
Yes.
And that is coming out as we are doing the score, and we figured it's a way to kind of prevent him from coming after us after the score, basically. Like he'll be busy. And basically the whole city will be coming after him for one reason or another very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. And this will happen whether or not we accomplish our goals, notably.
Yeah, that's going to happen regardless. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. The other thing I wanted to ask about, the inspector who was looking into Freya, she was also working with House and Nexus.
Yes, she was.
Have we seen her since, or like so in the background preparation?
Yeah, so I think that what she has permitted House and Nexus to know is that she is pursuing her own leads. She knows very well that like both the temple and the criminal Munna are involved here, and that she expects that like she will conclude this investigation in some form very shortly. I think from this we can probably conclude that like one way or another she will find her way to the hotel, Mount Himagiri. Whether that happens too late for her to do anything or just as things are about to kick off, I guess we'll find out in the score. But I don't think you were able to yet figure out exactly what her position is. I don't think she permitted you. Like, she was being very careful also, because there is she's very fastidious and conscientious, and Munna is involved.
Okay, sounds good.
We also have a thief with us, which I
Yes.
just want to mention lest we forget it.
Oh
Cashier.
yes, who is Miraz's childhood friend, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know he's a thief. He's
Sure.
just a good guy.
Things just disappear around him.
Yeah. He's just a good guy. He's a sharp-dressed man. I brought him along because he will lend a certain degree of, like, you know, we belong inside a hotel sort of like vibes, you know?
Yes. And he is immaculately dressed. I think so we will cut back to your action montage, Miraz, when we see you do what you need to do. But I think as the episode of this TV show opens, we see the immaculately dressed figure of Cashier walk in. And he looks like something out of a Sanjay Leela Bhansali film. This is a reference only I will get on this podcast. But I think he looks like the kind of person who, there is a film that he made called Ram Leela, and there is a scene in this film where Ranveer Kapoor is basically like offensively topless, which is to say he's mostly clothed. He just looks like he wants to be taking his clothes nearly off. And he looks incredible. And that is what he looks like. And he walks in as if he owns the place. He's flirting with like all of the waiters, and he says, I guess, like, you see him like walk up to the receptionist. And there is something very cool about this reception. Let me ask you, what is cool about this reception?
Like the reception area?
Yeah.
You have to climb up to it.
Wow. It seems like not great for accessibility, but yeah.
It's just like, yeah, maybe, it's cool, but it's also uncool, know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
I don't think it's like a massive climb, but it's Mount Himagiri, right? So you come in, and then there's like a short flight of steps, a platform, and so on, and then you have to go up to the reception.
Excellent. Yes. And I think that probably when people who can't make the climb come up, there are alternate arrangements made, because the only people who come are people who are rich enough that like every accommodation will be made.
Yes.
Not necessarily because like the people who run the hotel are incredibly progressive. So that may also be the case. But I think in this case, we see him like almost like dance. He's like very graceful, right? Like, so he makes his way up these stairs, both very casually, but also very like gracefully. And yeah, as he begins to speak to the receptionist with some small talk, I think that's when we can instead see what Miraz has been up to while this is happening. So yeah, what has Miraz been up to?
Yeah, Miraz is behind. He's also checking in with Cashier. Cashier's just the one up front speaking, right? Miraz has a suitcase. Well, he's got his like normal satchel, but he's also got a suitcase, and it's like holding onto it, and the suitcase is like moving back and forth erratically, as the powered by itself. And then we flash back to several downtime actions as I finish the maglev boots.
Excellent. How many ticks do you have left in this clock?
I have 3 ticks left, and of course there has to be the actual crafting.
Yeah, so it's at least 2, but I guess like it could be more. So like, why don't you roll and then like we'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
But I don't think we need to really dwell on it. So it's like tinker to make the boots function, right?
Yeah. I'm going to do prowl roll to kind of like do the test drive.
Yeah, makes sense.
Let's see. Can anyone help me with this? That's okay. I'll just roll as it is.
I was actually going to say one person, but yeah, okay.
Yeah, you can go if you have an idea.
You've got your Chandler apprentice Shama, who absolutely loads your god. right?
Oh yes.
But you ask her nicely enough, she may be willing. I'll tell you what. All you will have to do to get her to help you is admit to you that like your avatar has abandoned you and looks nowhere close to return.
Yeah, I think it's not even like a confessional. It's more like, fuck, I have to get this ready, and everyone's kowtowing to this god that's not there anymore, and no one's here to help me. Normally I'd ask my father, but now he's you. What was your name? Seamus?
Shama, but yeah.
Ah yes, Shama. Listen, all you have to do is stand there and tell me if I'm going in a straight line.
Mm.
You don't need a Sparkcraft degree to do that.
Yeah. So why don't you roll and we'll see how much help she does to you. 2 ones. Yeah, that's all she says. She could be so much more helpful, and she knows it. And all she does is, whenever you don't walk in a straight line, she says, "You're not walking in a straight line anymore," and that's it. And she's taking an incredible amount of pleasure in this, by the way. Like you can see her, like she's trying very hard to like have a stone face, but she's like, whenever she thinks you're not looking, she's giggling to herself. So that's one take, I'm afraid.
I think I go in. She keeps saying you're not going in a straight line, but she's also saying it as I kind of like immediately veer off into a 90 degree and then kind of like veer off into a 45 degree. It's yes, I mean yes. You're not going in a straight line is adding yes,
absolutely.
And so I think
that's all you wanted me to do, right? Yeah, that's all I'm doing. Yeah.
So I kind of like take my boots off and I'm like, I can't get anything right. The goddamn arm, and like Mira's kind of like throws a fit and he unlaces the boots and then it hurls them against the wall. So I'm going to roll wreck to see if that actually accidentally.
Oh my god. Sure. Yeah. Why don't you kick your television to see if it works better? Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, and that fixed it.
Oh, 1 and a 4. I was going to give you a double sparkle, but that's great. Yeah. I was going to say that the devil's bargain here is that like you can throw them and you'll get an extra die if at some point during the score they will just suddenly break down because you threw them against a wall. But you got what you needed, so it's fine.
Yeah, I got it. So I throw them and I guess they kind of bounce off and then they kind of like float in thin air perfectly.
Yeah.
And then they drop down.
And I think Shama says, the throw things at the wall and see what works method. Very famous amongst Sparkcraft engineers. I do know this.
And then I kind of like when she says like throw things at the wall, I'm able to turn around, face her, and like say something that will probably not make it into the podcast if I were to say it. But then I noticed that they're floating in midair, and suddenly there's an almost religious awe that is not at all diminished by the fact that then they just immediately fall to the ground because I've proven that they work. And then I completely ignore her, and I basically spend the rest of the night staying up, actually crafting them.
Excellent.
Gonna do that now.
Yeah. I will say that I think this has given her some insight into your work as well. Whatever that is, it may never be relevant, but I think she has learned something from this entire experience.
That's good for her.
Yeah.
I don't need her. Need her.
Did we ever talk about like it? No, go on.
No, I was going to say I don't need her archaic nonsense.
Yeah. Did we ever talk about like tier and like all of this stuff, like what you need to know to make these work, that kind of thing, tags, flows?
No, we never did. We never talked about like what the minimum requirement for the quality should be for me to have like boots that can float off the ground.
Yeah, I think like it's basically how long do you want them to work for at any given time, right? Like, do you want them to be like able to lift one person for a few minutes? Do you want them to be like you and another person and you can just turn them off and on any time of the day. Like, what is your feeling about like how like powerful you want them to be, basically?
Basically, I want it to be like I want to be able to glide on the ground by running and basically be frictionless and move really, really fast for
Okay,
as long
cool.
as I mean, I guess like half an hour.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
which is
I mean, like,
a lot of time
I'm-
for like that sort of uninterrupted power draw.
yeah, I'm just looking at the magnitude, and it's I feel like it would be tier 3, which
Yeah,
is to
quality 3
say,
makes sense to me.
yeah, like quality 3, because it's like an hour is about tier 2, but like tier and quality / force, whatever, says excellent or serious, which I think is what you're looking for. And I don't think Mirage would settle for anything less.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's-
yeah, I think tier 3. And let's say that. So do you think that like the point of these is that they're quite reliable? Because I feel like if you can throw them against something, or like you can throw some like a sample against something and they start working, I feel like they probably can stand up to some punishment, right?
I think the only problem is that they're going to be expensive to operate. So I think like every time I use them, I would like to lose a coin.
Wow. Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
every score I use them. I mean,
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
sorry, that you were saying.
So what did they run on anyway? What's the
Uh,
fuel?
Electroplasm.
Okay.
Electroplasm, but I bet you if you put your mind to it, you could make it run off Abbas's wildfire.
I don't want him to power it with his. What's he going to do? Throw fireballs at my foot?
Rocket powered.
Yeah, literally rocket powered.
It's about using speedrun tactics.
Obviously, I think the cost is not the fuel. The cost is you need to replace the magnets every time. You need more magnets.
Yes.
That's the.
Yes, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's what should happen. Here's what should happen. Abbas climbs onto your back and then shoots fire out of his hands to propel you both into the air. Forget this magnetic boot nonsense.
I like how Abbas considers turning himself into a jetpack to be less nonsense somehow.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the other thing about them is that they. So obviously I have to turn them on to like properly float off the ground. But I think the other thing about them is that they just refuse to actually, because they have like drift oil on them. They refuse to actually ever be put on something. Hence why I'm struggling with them inside my suitcase because they're floating around inside them.
Yes, makes sense.
Yes. So I rolled a 5 on my Tinker roll, and which means that I get quality equal to our tier, which is 1. I have Workshop and I have Artificer, so I had +2 resolve level because of the two of them, and thus I have a quality 3, which is what I need.
Excellent.
Yes.
Very good. You have these maglev boots. So in fact, we cut straight back to you and Keshir checking in, and you've got the suitcase there, right? That's why you're struggling like on camera.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. Who else is around?
I think we were all checking into the hotel. Is that not the idea? We were going to get ourselves a room.
Yeah, I think we are. And Vickers had provided a cover identity for us and her cohort, I realized, because I should use them in this score. I keep forgetting that I have a cohort. So I think that they are disguised as our servants, because obviously we're important big shots. Our cover identity that secured is that we're North Hook privateers. So.
Oh my god.
So I think
excellent.
that my cohort is disguised as like North Hook personnel.
Very good.
Ah, yes. I am the science man.
Yeah. And obviously, then Vickers has her cohort carry her many bags up to the room. And I think that's what she is focused on. And I think her privateer disguise is mostly consists of her having switched out to a hat with a very tall feather in it, because that looks sailory in her mind. So, in fact, I think she's wearing like a feathered tricorn, and is directing people to carry everything up the stairs.
This is definitely working for Miraz, but he will not say it.
Yes.
Very good.
Of course.
Keshir, on the other hand, I think has noticed that it's working for Miraz, because what are school friends for if not realizing annoying things about you.
Mm-hmm.
What are you hiding with that briefcase?
Yeah, absolutely.
Uh-huh. So yeah, Vickers is just in the background directing everyone to, and I think most of us are on normal load because we have briefcases and stuff. This was kind of the benefit of us getting a room, as I recall. That
Yes.
thanks to our cover story, we can basically smuggle in more stuff than we would otherwise be able to. So
yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
I have heavy load though, as always.
Yep. And so that's what Vickers is doing. I think she has a reasonably competent disguise since we have this beautician to do like hair and makeup and stuff. So
correct.
She has assumed. I don't know if we need to come up with names for our cover identities. I suspect it won't matter. But she is posing as probably the captain, and I think, in fact, since Vickers got us this weird ass cover identity, Miraz is the science guy. Joan is obviously posed as like our dangerous like fighter, because that makes sense.
Yeah.
And Abbas, you are the navigator.
Yeah.
This is your role.
Mm-hmm. I think my alias is Dr. Danger. And you can tell I'm Dr. Danger because I'm wearing my tie loosely.
Yes. Vickers would have amended it to make it more realistic, so it's Dr. MacDanger. See, that's just more North Hooky.
Son of Danger.
Yes.
Excellent. And what I have in here is in this suitcase, and that's the reason it moves around, is that we have a live crocodile in here.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Sir, I said I
have a detailed backstory for my alter ego character. You see, I will never use it. No one will ever ask me what my name is, but it's Dr. McDanger. I have the crocodile and etc.
Well, I mean, I feel like we definitely get this receptionist being like, a live carnivorous Deathlands animal. Is this Oh, I see. And like just trying very hard to not be like, what the fuck? But this is, to be honest, for her first date. Otherwise, this is noble fun.
Dangerous? Yes, it is.
I feel like now, due to a clerical error, you're signing the ledger as Dr. McDonger, and you can't change
it. Every day signing for the breakfast as McDonger.
Yes.
Very good. Yes. And you get shown to your rooms, I think, like very straightforwardly. I feel like in the standard way, your luggage gets taken away, the people are like, there's a bellhop. There isn't a bellhop. There's like some kind of, it gets put onto a waxwork bellhop golem-esque thing, which takes this away. And as you walk through the lobby, you realize that you catch the attention of the Spirit Warden. And the way that you realize this is that, Joan, you are used to like what it feels like when the Spirit Warden notices, right?
Probably. I wonder what I feel like it would just be like that feeling of somebody watching you, like the kind of prick of it.
Yeah.
But not necessarily with their eyes resting on you.
Yeah.
A more directionless version of it.
Makes sense. I think what we see is as you pass by them, Joan, the warden, you feel their gaze on you, even though like they are wearing their full mask, and this mask does not have any eye holes. It has no holes whatsoever. Prince, what does this Spirit Warden's mask look like?
Oh, what the spirit? Okay, so it has no. It's basically just a slab of metal on their face with no visible holes in it, but it obviously has some kind of a design. And this is a cool Imperial Spirit Warden. So,
Yes.
Okay, the mask displays only mathematical theorems, like geometric principles. It's
incredible.
Yeah. So you can learn geometry off of it. This probably has significance somehow, but that is one of the things that you can do.
Very good. Yes. Excellent. So maybe what happens, and only we in the audience know this, but maybe what happens is that we see the mathematical theorems kind of shift as the spirit wood's gaze like falls on you, Joan, and we basically see them kind of go, oh yeah, this person is someone I should be paying attention to. And the reason that they do this, of course, is that, Joan, you have eaten a god, and that kind of thing may be noticeable to someone like a spirit warden. And I think this is your first challenge, because I don't think that like this spirit warden is going to like let you like walk away no problem. I think in fact they see you and you can feel them kind of trying to like feel you out in the ghost field.
Okay. Do you have a way of dealing with this, Joan? Otherwise, I do, I think.
I have something.
Okay.
In fact, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna like kind of do the very secure, say what Joan thinks a security guard would probably say, like something like, I'm gonna check the perimeter, and then walk away. Like split off from you guys. And like I think I will actually exit the lobby and try to lead the spirit warden away, and then try to get to the room by some other manner.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah.
If you want to add to it, Fritz, of
yeah,
course.
I can assist you if this is an action. Since what you're trying to do is just lose the guy, right? Not like conceal this, but just shake him, if I understand it correctly.
As far as I understand, if somebody can sense me in the ghost field, I can't actually like he's noticed me, and that's not avoidable anymore. But maybe I can like kind of obfuscate stuff.
Yeah. So if obfuscation is what we're going for, I am capable of obfuscating.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I'm doing that, I'm assisting whatever action it is obviously we see Joan say like, I'm going to check the perimeter, and then there's this cool dramatic moment where like their eyes meet across the room, and we see this like tension, and the guy's tracking her, and then 4 people come by with bags, and we hear Vickers going, no, not that way, careful with that. And we're just going to like basically do the bus passing in front of Joan thing, and when the bus has passed, she's gone with a crowd of people.
Nice.
Incredible.
Excellent.
Okay, yeah. What are you rolling for this then? Because it seems to me if you're trying to lure the spirit warden somewhere, it feels more like a sway, because you're trying to like mislead or bluff them into like following you. Change attitudes or behavior with manipulation or seduction. Or do you reckon it's more like a prowl? I don't know. Prowl is more like you want to lose their interest, not you want to direct it.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think it's gonna be a sway. Actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark my vial of volatile spirit essence.
Okay.
And I'm going to smuggle it into some sort of like, maybe there's like one of those lifts that go down to the kitchen where like you can get like the kind of food lifts.
Cool.
And I'm gonna just kind of smuggle the spirit essence in there. As if I have like quickly crawled in there and used it to walk away, but actually I'm just gonna like kind of lose myself.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. That seems. I think that this actually like will have great effect, not because the spirit warden is not competent, but because A, this approach like makes a lot of sense, and B, like their suspicions are not really regarding you right now, right? Like maybe you are like a Scurlock plant or something, but they're not like, oh, this is definitely something that like I need to be on right now. So I think risky, great. And I think the reason this is like, what I mean by great is that you will distract them sufficiently for now that like, I mean, they probably will come back at some point, but they're not going to come back for a little while. They're going to go and investigate this for a bit.
Makes sense. And Vickers was assisting, right? So I have a bonus die.
Yes, yes indeed.
2 dice, a 5 and a 3.
A 5, yeah. So I think that oh man, yeah, I know. So you manage this, right? And I think we see the camera like you do this bus thing where like the like we see the bags kind of move, Joan disappears, the spirit warden like is mildly annoyed, but this is not like something that they can't get past. Still tries to like focus on you, but it is in fact focusing on the spirit essence you have in your hand, so that when you palm the vial off, then they are like now focusing on that in the ghost field. So by the time they get to the dumbwaiter, they're like, oh shit, she crawled in here? That's so annoying. And like they take the stairs down, right?
Dumbwaiter, that's the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that like this goes straight down into the kitchens that are in the basement. And the risky consequence here is that that is exactly where Constance Constable is beginning her search for Freya. And the Spirit Warden is going to run into her, and they're gonna have a little bit of a conversation to figure each other out first. But so, you know, the Warden will still be distracted, but once they come back, they will be together. They will like be on the same side.
That's a great consequence.
Inspector Constable's playing Hitman, and she picked the basement start.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. So yeah, but nonetheless, you know, great effect. So we see the Spirit Warden like wander off. Now that you've said Hitman, unfortunately, all I can see in my head is that one level in Hitman where it's like the hotel resort. So I'm going to try very hard not to let that like influence how I describe this hotel.
I'm going to fucking drown Lord Scurlock in the sauna.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. So I don't think that like it is very hard to figure out where like House Anixis knows where Lord Scurlock is in the hotel, right? And they've given you like the directions to like the suite of rooms that belong to him.
Yeah, but we don't know where Munna or Freya are, right? Like,
yes.
We
you
just know that
suspect.
Scurlock is gonna meet. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you suspect that like Freya, if she's not in the rooms now, she's going to be led there at some point because one of the rooms has been specially prepared for the ritual to occur.
Mm-hmm.
So naturally, we have a room, probably, I don't know, on the 4th floor or something, and Lord Scurlock is on the 18th floor.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think that this hotel is not a skyscraper.
But it's called Mount Himagiri.
Yeah, it's on top of a mountain, but it is not itself a mountain. I think that like also because I imagine that like there's all this shifting using canvas and so on. It's actually like sprawling over say 3 or 4 floors, but like the thing that makes it huge is that like it is like the Palace of Versailles or something. You know, it is massive. Maybe not as big as the Palace of. Well, you know what? Uduasha is huge. Yeah, it's as big as the Palace of Versailles now. Maybe it wasn't when it was first built, but by now it is. And so, yeah, it's not that you're on the 4th floor and he's on the 18th floor. It's more like you are in, you know, like a very nice bedroom by any other standard, and he is in the Emperor's suite.
Okay, you have to get to him, or figure out.
Yeah, you just have to get to him,
or figure out where Freya is. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, so are we all convening in the hotel bedroom?
I think we are taken to our room first because that just makes sense, right?
That's what I mean.
Get our equipment. Set, you know, montage of opening our bags, taking out our scoundrel equipment, putting it on ourselves, etc.
Yeah.
I assume
just
that
out of interest,
sort of back, looping back there.
Yeah. Just out of interest, are any of you tipping your? There is no waiter, but are any of you like? I think there is a tradition of like rubbing a certain part of the golem for good luck. Like maybe there's like a little knob or something, or like, oh no, that's a bad choice of words. Maybe there is like a handle.
I think you just poke coins into the wax for good luck, so they're like coins just under the surface in it.
Yeah.
And
good.
I think in fact I will do that because, you know, it seems to be the custom. So they're like, obviously it's not an entire coin worth, but you know.
No, yeah,
like
it's
smaller,
just for flavor. Yeah.
The smaller currency pushed into the the waxy flesh of the thing, which is kind of unsettling because it means it has this speckled undercurrent of copper coins.
Yeah. It does not feel great, honestly, under your hands, but it's, Yeah.
Yep.
I certainly don't.
Yes, it's a superstition for superstitious people. What about you, Abbas?
It's good money being spent on bad technology.
Yes.
Aadiyat?
Yes. Sorry. Is someone asking me something?
Oh, sorry. I was just wondering whether you also took part in this.
Yeah.
Putting
a coin in the golem for good luck.
Yep.
Yeah, but why not? I think it would.
Great. So you find yourself in these rooms. They are lovely, by the way. Very beautiful, like light, airy. Incredibly I think lit in a modern way because the second that they realized they could switch to electroplasm and not risk anything being set on fire, they did. And lovely, antique wooden furniture, a little room service menu. You can they've got a golem that's attached in some way to the kitchen, so you can actually make a phone call. It's great. Not that you care about any of this. I'm just giving you some color on this hotel because now I'm just full on in this hotel. Yeah. What are you doing to try and locate where Freya is?
Yeah, I think we have two options here. We could try to monitor Lord Scurlock, we could go straight for the ritual room, or we could actually try to find Freya.
Do you think this? I mean, Freya, if she's been put into a hotel room, would they have, I don't know, gone through the formalities, checking her in? Can we find her name in a guest book?
Oh, excellent question. That might be a really good way of doing it.
The other question is, am I playing her today?
I think that's a question for you.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't mind cutting back and forth on scenes.
I don't mind.
Okay.
It just means that now we get to discuss where she actually is instead of it being theoretical, right?
I don't mind cutting to that, but is that I mean, of course, we'll find a way for our other characters to not know and so on.
I think we should cut to it only when we have some inkling of where she is. I think that's more dramatically appropriate.
Yeah, fair enough. Then I think Miraz would kind of okay, we're in. And now how do we find our little ragamuffin? Let's see. And then I think he's going to head straight back to reception. Or maybe no, we probably flash back to having actually asked someone in reception, going,
sure.
Was there so it's Miraz asking his being Dr. McDanger, which is not the most I think he'll just lean forward and say, okay, was there a young lady checking in and with some guys, and she looked like she gets up to trouble? He kind of leans forward, and then he kind of he attempts to wink, but he's not good at winking, so he just kind of twitches his both eyes at the same time.
Okay, I have a separate idea for how to find Freya now, but go ahead with this. Let's resolve your action first. So maybe I can resolve mine at the same time. Here's my idea. Okay. And this is actually more reliant on Freya than on Vickers, but we mentioned this sticking a coin into the golem, right? And this is the golem that takes everyone up, and you can stick other things than coins into it. So I think what I want to do is find a message from Freya in the golem, if that is possible.
Absolutely, it's possible. It would require Freya to know that you are coming for her, which could be very interesting, but you would have to establish that.
Yeah, true.
It's not a knife. Sorry, it's not a message. What it is it's a knife, from, let's say, I don't know, a butter knife or something that was with room service and so on, and she put the knife in, not as a message, but to kind of okay, maybe I'll need this afterwards.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
My angle here also is it's not that Freya knows that we are coming for her, but she does know that the lady in rose and gold has done things. So
That's
No,
true. Yeah.
What I mean by the knife is that so she's got there's something in the golem that she has sequestered for her own use later, but through the power of ghost echoes and spirit and attune and so on, you can use that to trace her back.
excellent.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
So I think Vickers will, as she puts in the coin. Do I need to roll something to pull the knife out?
No. Instead, Freya, let's flash back to you putting this in. And we'll see the risk here, I think, is not that you won't manage it. The risk here is I will, in the classic way of Blades that I never do, I'll start a hotel alert clock. And it'll be people in the hotel figuring out something is wrong. And the risk is just that, like, this adds to that.
Okay.
So yeah, I think risky standard. You can do this, and it's like, let's say it's a 4 o'clock and you're risking about 2 ticks up.
So sorry, who's rolling?
Freya is rolling.
Freya.
Okay.
Freya is rolling to hide the blade.
Sure.
Yeah, because you can I think pulling it out seems fairly straightforward, right? It's about whether it goes in, that seems.
Yeah. Finesse roll, I guess. What's the position and
Yeah.
effect?
Risky standard. Because in this way, I think I'm imagining that, like, by now you're in a position where Munna thinks that oh, you know, like, she is totally on my side. She's not really, even if she does something weird, I'll mostly be able to catch it. So I don't really need, like, special preparations. And you've kind of, like, I wouldn't say it's a false sense of security. I would say that it's a sense of security that may not be fully justified. So yeah, it's not desperate. I think it's risky standard.
Yeah, but I'm going to give myself a devil's bargain for having the favor of a deity. Someone's looking out for me right now.
Oh, yes. Okay.
So
So I will
there's
start 2 o'clock.
Oh, so there's
No, there's already.
yeah. So the
Yes, you're right. Okay, yeah. I can just take that again. Great.
So the elephant in the room / the void. Yeah, one more.
Yes. Great.
Oh, 6. And yes, Murgatroyd wins the day.
Yeah, because it was a 2-2, and then the last one was a 6. So I think we see you. Okay, this golem is nonetheless a golem in the most fancy hotel in Uduasha, and I think that it has been specially treated so that you can only put coins in it, and you can't take it out, right? Because even in very fancy hotels, people to get drunk and do dumb shit. People are trying to, like, break in and do dumb shit. All of this stuff, right? So you try and put something in this, and it doesn't work, right? Like, the wax, which is so pliant to coins, is like fucking iron hard to anything else. And then suddenly it just parts for you, and the knife slides in smooth as butter, no problem, and there is no reason why you should suspect anything has gone wrong. It's totally fine, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then I guess camera focuses on this, and then it cuts back to Vickers pulling said knife out and going,
Yep.
Oh, that's odd. Who would leave a knife in the... Oh, wait. And I think
Yes,
Vickers would actually
indeed.
get this, because, I mean, she has met
Yes,
Freya.
absolutely. Yeah. And I think, like, standard effect here means not just, like, also that you convey the message, right? That's what you're going for here. Like, in the meta fiction. In the fiction, Freya doesn't necessarily know. She kind of knows, but we know, right? So yeah, you pull it out, and, like, a shot for the camera is that, like, as you pull it out, the wax, like, kind of, like, almost bleeds a little bit, and for a second, it is the trunk of an elephant before it, like, falls on the ground and splatters, right?
Okay.
Yeah, great, fantastic.
So we can cut back to Miraz at the reception, but I have one more thing I wish to do with this knife. And this is Vickers. Vickers is not normally a detective, but I think this is the rare area where she snaps to, like, her brain operates very, very quickly, and we see a bunch of... I probably have to roll for this, but this is we see the gears turn, right?
Yeah.
So what I want to do is Vickers looks at the knife and goes, Freya must have left this. Well, it's a hotel like this. But they must have been eating lobster, I think, by the knife. And I want to pin down what they were eating by the correct cutlery, because this is the kind of restaurant that cares about that. And then we can triangulate that with who ordered what room service.
That is so much. I think there is no risk here. I think it's a fortune roll, because it's about how good, like, your deduction is. So yeah, you can just roll a fortune. And yeah, it must be study. Like, can that
Yeah,
be anything
it's
else
study.
you could? Yeah. Okay, you can roll study here.
I'm not
Uh,
particularly good at this, but I thought it was a funny idea, so I'm going to go with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I roll a 5
It's a
to
5.
track Freya
Yeah.
through the through the menu rather than the ghost field.
Yeah. On a 5, you figure out that it is absolutely the lobster. And the reason that it is the lobster is that 2 days ago, the lobster was the special on menu, which means that everybody was up ordering the lobster. So you can do this, and it's like good enough, but it means that everyone who is rich enough to afford the lobster, and like we're in a landlocked city in a world in which seafood is very weird, you know, so like lobster is very special. So it's not that everyone, even in this fancy place, can afford it, but it's not just like not just Lord Scurlock, right? There were a few people who could afford it. Lord Scurlock and Munna are probably one of them. And Freya gets to eat like nice things. She's not that kind of prisoner. So yeah, like you will make progress here.
Yeah, so I think Vickers takes it out and elaborates this theory of like this would only be used for lobster, which is quite exclusive. I think I need to have a look at the menu and who ordered. And then of course she will present the knife to like Joan and Abbas too. We may be able to get more out of this, but we are now in the very narrow field of food and etiquette, which Vickers actually understands.
Yeah. I will make a 6 clock for figuring out where Freya is. And I'll tick it twice because I think you've managed 2 ticks here. And I think when the clock fills, you will know exactly what you, Freya, like the crew will know exactly where she is and like how to get there. Because I feel like in this kind of approach, there's no reason to like not just make this a clock and like try and like get to where that is. And it also allows like, you, Miraz, to tell me what you're doing to kind of add to this clock.
Yes. So I'm trying to be smooth and like ask about Freya without asking about Freya, but like I don't know. I think I may have just asked for a lady of the night or something. So we'll have to see how whether or not the receptionist is able to pick up what I'm putting down versus picking up what they think I'm putting down.
Indeed. Let's say that it is controlled in that, you know, you're not risking much, but you're going to have limited effect, which is to say, if you succeed, you will get, I think I saw someone like that, and then like a vague description of someone who may, you will not know exactly that Freya was here. You might get someone who looks like Freya.
Yeah. How about this? So I think I realize that it's not working, and then I kind of lean forward a bit more. A bit more specific. I'm looking for someone of the Scottish persuasion, and then my eye just like kind of like just trembles as I try to do a bigger wink, and then I say, and then I'm going to lean forward even more. I don't know if I can like trade position or for effect twice to go
I
up
think
2
you
steps.
can here. Yeah, you can.
And then I say, she may be in the company of a really, really older special guest. And I think like the way, so now I want it to be like, now I'm like actually drawing attention to the fact that I'm now asking very specifically.
Yes.
So
about Lord Scurlock even.
Yes.
Possibly. Yeah.
Scurlock may have some, regardless of whether or not this person has any idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Scurlock is probably has some sort of arcane words and so on that would be able to pick up that someone's asking about him.
Indeed. Yeah, absolutely. So you are now at Desperate Great. And great effect here is 3 ticks, so you will nearly fill the clock up. Right?
But you are basically just asking a question of the receptionist.
Yes.
As I understand it. Like that is basically just what you are doing. All right, I will assist you in that case. And the way I'm assisting you is that I had everyone's cover identities and makeup and so on done. And while you are like awkward and not very, not very good at this like dropping clues, I will have made you up to look like a romantic hero to make you more sympathetic in the eyes of this person. Like it's slightly more suspicious, but they will pick up on that you are, you're here on a romantic quest, a mission, and she has a chance to help you find your long lost love or something like that. So basically what I'm saying is when we zoom in on Miraz in this moment, he is made up to have like the handsome Bollywood hero look.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
And then I'll just add, she's my sister.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, there we go.
Twice removed.
Uh-huh.
Amazing. Okay.
We're making a drama here.
Yes,
Who would want to help
absolutely.
this dashing man find his sister?
Yeah.
She made some
Very good.
bad choices.
Hmm.
Miraz doesn't have the imagination to know what those might be.
Yeah.
No. Well, this receptionist does. So you know.
Uh-huh.
So
I'm-
desperate, great.
I think I'm
One
definite-
bonus die.
I'm pushing myself, like literally. There's some sweat
Yes.
forming on his
Mhm.
brow
Yes.
Yeah.
as he's trying really hard to actually wink.
Pushing myself to try and wink like really hard. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I can't. In real life, I can't wink. This is what happens when I try to wink.
I see. Okay.
Hey,
Oh, nice.
my makeup gave you a 6.
Yeah. 1164.
Even though
think
some of it is
that-
running down with the sweat and like making my eyes sting.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah,
It's
I know
the
what
eye
happens here.
shadow. Mhm.
Yeah. The receptionist leans in and says, yes, I do know who. And then like says, she was in the company of an Akarosi gentleman. We have to take the age of everyone on who visits, but he declined, and I was told by the manager not to ask again. But I'm sure that he's quite dangerous, and I'm sure he's very old. And like I think she thinks that like he paid the manager to not ask, whereas in reality what it is he knows that nobody will like accept the truth of 2,000 years or whatever the number is, right?
Mhm.
And I think she then says, in fact, I think that he is one of those Akarosi wizards. He seemed the type. And then like basically confirms to you exactly when she was here. I think like this receptionist was on duty the day that the day that the lobster special was around, and probably says something like, I know they ordered the lobster, they're in like the Emperor suite, but and then says, but I don't know how exactly to get there. They've been very secretive, and well, not even the hotel staff can really make out, but she's in the Emperor suite. I'm sure of it.
Okay,
How
so
many-
she is in the same suite as Lord Scurlock. Sorry, just
Yes.
keeping track of
Mhm.
things here. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a separate location. Got it.
Okay. How many? Is it just the two of them?
Yeah. I think she says, no, I've seen a few people come in and go out. At least one of them was wearing what seemed to be specific robes, something like a priest of some kind. I don't know how that happened. I can't imagine a man of the cloth would condone such behavior, but there it is.
You haven't seen what I've seen priests do. And Miraz has been shaking his head as like, oh no, how far my sister has fallen, and so on.
Yes,
and then
indeed.
it's like, but how? What do you mean you don't know how to get there? It's a suite in the hotel. Like,
No, so it was one of the special requests. They had the suite be prepared for, I don't know, some kind of arcane purpose. Do you think she would be involved?
and Miraz is kind of shaking his head more and more and says, priests, wizards, arcane purposes. It all smells very fishy to me. Listen, I know, I appreciate you saying all this and telling me all this, but I need someone. I need some help on the inside, and I can see you've got a good heart. You've got a good heart, and you know that she's in big trouble. We don't know what kind of trouble, but it's gotta be big, right? Can I count on you and your can I count on you for help, or is that asking too much? Listen, I'll make it worth your while. I've got this. I got some money. And I'll make it worth your while. And Miraz is like, partly it's like he has no idea what to say because, well, this isn't what he does.
Yeah, who
But he's
does?
also
Yeah.
like leaning kind of into the whole. I think it's also accidentally kind of leaning into the whole like, damn, I really want to do something, but I have no idea what to do. Can you help me? Sort of thing.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, I think this is another role. And I think now you're in a desperate position because someone asking for a bribe is not
Offering a bribe.
not the kind of offering a bribe is exactly the kind of thing that that she is warned to never let happen. And she knows she could lose her job. And like, yes, she could lose her job for telling you even this much, because like security and privacy is like one of the big things in these fancy hotels. But she thinks that, your sister is in danger. But in this case, if someone sees her like take money from you, then that's it. This could just be like, she could tell her coworker, oh yeah, he was really awkwardly asking for like someone to spend some time with him, and I didn't know how to say we're not that kind of place. But this is much more like, I think, dangerous. So this is like desperate. And to be honest, okay, let's not say desperate. Let's say risky in that she's going to say no. She's not going to say no when I'm like turning you in. But you're only going to have limited effect, which is she might like just direct you to someone or tell you like her best guess. Now you don't need more than. No, go on.
Don't we only have one tick left on the clock?
Yeah, you only have one tick left on the clock, so you don't need more than that. But I think all you'll get is where where generally it is, and then like you can basically like go there and like go through whatever challenges there are, but she's not going to give you like exactly where it is.
Okay, I meanwhile have a super stupid plan to draw out Lord Scurlock. So, and it requires
Excellent.
both Abbas and Joan. But
yeah, I guess what I'm trying to do is let's find out where Freya is, because I know where Freya is. What I basically want to do is have a sympathetic person in the hotel staff who can like cover for us.
Okay. So in that case, you're not even really necessarily working on that clock. This is just like a. Okay, fantastic. So you're at Risky Limited, and I think she will say more than my job's worth to take money from you, but like, anything that I can do that won't get me in trouble, I will do.
Okay, so I'm going to I'm going to make a lifestyle roll to see like how rich I look, I guess, like how able to afford to actually bribe her I'm going to look. But it is an action roll, of course, but I'm using my lifestyle.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. So Risky, Limited, and like, to be honest, no, I think the way the fiction is, I don't think like I was gonna say, well, if you're willing to spend a coin on this, that it'll become standard, but I don't think like she would do this for really any amount of money, because the job's worth more than like the 1 or 2 coin that you could give her. So yeah.
But I'm happy to make it a devil's bargain to like already give her some money, regardless of how this goes.
No, well, I think the problem here is that the way that I think the fiction is that she can't be seen accepting them.
No,
so
I mean,
like,
what I mean is that the money is going to be there. I put it out, and like even if it goes badly and someone like calls me away and so on, I have lost my money.
So my problem here is that she would, in my mind, she would get in trouble if the money was there.
I see.
See what I mean? But I think maybe instead, what an interesting devil's bargain here might be is that like, she's going to get involved, but not only in a helpful way. She's going to be like, oh my god.
I will
do something.
I will spice that up for you, Tree. We've already established that we made Miraz up to look like a romance novel protagonist. I think
she's going to fall in love with him.
Yeah, devil's bargain is that she is going to think that she is the other protagonist of this romance novel. Finally, a hero looking for his sister. This is just like in the books I read.
Yeah, and I think
Yes.
like
You know what?
Mira's.
Yes, correct.
So if she can't be seen to take money from me, so of course the bribe idea doesn't work at all. I think Mira's is going to
Yeah.
figure that out, and he's going to like, what am I saying? Of course, no, but listen, you look like a good person. You got a good heart on you. I can see it. You want to help. Help me. I'll I'll owe you so much. And I think like he's going to look around and he's just going to grab her hand and put his hand on top of her hand, and he's just going to put another hand on top of his hand, so there's two hands on her hand. It's going to like stare soulfully into her, and there's desperation in his eyes. That's like genuine desperation, and he's like, oh shit, what am I doing? I've
Yeah.
committed to this. I have to go all the way. So he looks like really really earnest, but I think maybe if it goes well, his earnestness will be mistaken for earnestness in a different way.
Yeah, and we must now give this person a name. So she is called Karishma. And she's not going to be in love with you. So good luck. Well, not in love with you, but definitely like, I expect to get married to this person in the next 6 months.
The charismatic charisma.
Yes, indeed.
So this is Sway.
Yeah, Sway. Extra dice for Devil's Bargain. And yeah.
So now it's what? Risky standard? Desperate standard?
Risky standard.
Okay.
No, risky.
Okay.
Standard. Yeah.
I mean, desperate just sounds so good,
Okay. I will tell you that what the desperate level consequence here is that Karishma has a very boring but very possessive girlfriend. And she also works in this hotel and may see you. And like this girlfriend does not have a sister who's gone missing. Is not like earnest and eager and wants to save her sister's life. And so you are much more interesting. What can you do?
Yeah, I think the make danger role play will get to Miraz, and he's just going to lean like he's already got his hands on her hand, so he's going to lean and quickly kiss her.
Oh my God! Yes,
desperate, great.
Desperate, great. Absolutely.
At least desperate. Now I'm not assisting you anymore. you better hope I don't find out about this.
No. It's make danger. It's not me. It's make danger.
Yeah. It's not me. It's my character. I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Try builder.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm not getting assist. Was there Devil's Bargain? No.
Yeah, the Devil's Bargain was that
she's gonna fall in love with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Then what does one need? No one needs an assist. I got it. I got this.
So desperate, great with a bonus dice. Fantastic.
Yeah. Sweet.
Yeah.
A 3 and a 5. It's the kiss that does it. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But I think that we see this shot of so I think Karishma is a not like the most good-looking person, but has a very striking face, right? Like definitely the kind of person who like there's a reason she's working reception, right? And I think her girlfriend is, I was gonna say accountants because like in my mind accountancy is just a boring profession, but now I feel like that's slander against accountants. So let's say that she's the front of office at the restaurant that's at the hotel, right? And so because she has to manage like tables and stuff, she's always standing right there looking out to see who is approaching the restaurant. So she sees you, and like Karishma does not see you because she's too busy being kissed. Sorry, she doesn't see her girlfriend, but the girlfriend sees the both of you, and immediately like her eyes like go all the way up. She experiences about 7 seconds of absolute and utter heartbreak, and then she starts to march towards you because she's going to give both of you a piece of her mind.
Okay, I want to resist this because this ties perfectly into my plan.
Okay.
So while our plans are going at the same time. So
yes.
Vickers, having now deduced that Lord Scurlock eats in the restaurant, he orders room service. We know that he had the lobster, although not today, but like some days ago. And we also know that he's paranoid and monitors the situation. So what if an angry old man came down to the restaurant and was like, someone is trying to poison me. And what if that old man was Abbas? And what if that drew out Lord Scurlock with rumors of poisonings going on? So basically, I just want Abbas to go complain about the food really loudly and like claim that there is a plot to poison him. And with how paranoid Lord Scurlock is, that probably sets off some sort of alarm bell for him and creates a suitable distraction.
Absolutely. Because even if it's just a distraction, that is still something to be alarmed by.
I feel that if you're protecting me, then like the obvious thing is that the consequence, well, doesn't entirely go away, but like becomes also that you notice. You were like, yeah, Abbas, get on there, and then you see this too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I will insight resist to have coordinated this to send in Abbas at the right moment, because I guess I'm still doing the resisting, even if we have Abbas be up next.
And then you see the betrayal.
Yes. I take only one stress from this because I am a bodyguard, but
yeah, but I mean at the same time, in that you only take one stress from this. I would expect this is a trauma right here. So
Yes, I would expect this too. But I am busy deploying Abbas, so let's see how he can distract this poor woman and stir up shit in the restaurant.
Oh man,
I'm counting on Abbas being good at complaining about the food. But I think
he's in the middle of this. Yeah, absolutely.
Is there anything we can do to make me look poisoned?
Oh, of course. I mean, we still have the makeup. I will mark my subterfuge supplies to have more makeup. And
excellent.
To have, when we came in, you were made up to look like cool, but now we made you up to look sick instead. Like,
yes.
You like faintly green and like eyes popping out more, and excellent.
Yeah. I think that so Abbas comes out. I actually want to hear this complaint. Like, what does Abbas sound like? Because you come down, you're like, what is your demeanor when you do this?
I think just brash, just demanding, like, you there, like, what kind of establishment are you running here? This is how you treat your guests? Like, he's just going to complain without explaining anything at first, just like, like, I come in here, I expect to be treated with respect, and this is what you're trying to do to me.
And she, like, you can see her, like use all of every ounce of self-control that she has, in order to, like, turn around and look at you with the most, like, gentle and welcoming face and say, "I'm so sorry, sir. What seems to be the issue? What can I do to help you?"
I think showing rather than telling is good, and Abbas can count on all the numerous breakfasts that Vickers has prepared for him to look,
yes,
really from the heart. You can see that he's struggling to breathe. He's kind of like almost gagging on like his own throat. Like he's like it's the food. I can't breathe.
Is this allergies? Did you not? Sir, we do ask that all of our guests, and then, like, before she can complete a sentence being like, you have to tell us about your allergies, immediately, like, yells out something like, I need a respiratory kit immediately, please. And like, starts...
allergies. What allergies? I grew up on the streets of Udu. Oh wait, no, did I? No, I didn't.
Yeah. Well, your character can go on about this. Maybe your character did. I don't think we could disguise Abbas as a foreigner if we tried. So he's just a pirate who's from here.
I grew up on the streets. Udu, what allergies? I'm not allergic to anything. You could feed me arsenic and I'd be okay with it. What the hell did you do to my food?
I see, sir.
That's your name,
and like,
Mr. Arsenic.
Yes.
That's her name, Mr. Arsenic. Very good. Yeah. They're about to be married, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. Arsenic, but now that, like, the Bollywood actor has turned up, Mrs. Arsenic will now become Mrs. Bollywood actor instead. So I think she takes you by the hand, like, sits you down, funnily enough, on the chair that the spirit warden was sitting on earlier. Tries to calm you down, gets a respiratory kit, and it's definitely like distracted. But in fact, I think Vickers, you can see that she's not fully well, and for some reason you feel a strange kinship with this woman. You can't really tell why, but there is
No, I can
something in the way that
absolutely
she's
tell.
acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I know why I am upset. But step 2
Yes,
of my
indeed.
plan, right?
Mm.
Step 1 is to have this like there is a poisoning in the restaurant. Scurlock will have to check this out in one capacity or another.
Yes.
Because something is up. Step 2 is
Yes.
of course to get Joan on the roof so she can go towards this imperial suite. Because
Excellent.
what
Wow.
better way
This
than
is
to
like
get there
all
than
four
across-
of you are playing cooperative Hitman.
Uh-huh. I mean, Vickers became the spider this score. I don't know how this happened, but
Yeah,
this is just
but it's
fancy
yeah,
hotel
great.
is just her kind of environment, I think.
Yeah, great. Okay, I think that let's say that you are setting Joan up for getting up onto the roof, right? Because I feel like they're two different roles, but you are doing it so that you can distract everyone so she can get on the roof. And so you'll have standard effect here, which is you will fill the clock and you will set her up to make this proud roll. Does that make sense?
Excellent. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And Vickers obviously is down in the restaurant and coordinating a boss. She was probably finishing up his makeup before she sent him around the corner. And then she saw this and she's now totally distracted. But my role is command because I'm not helping Joan onto the roof. When we flash back to our hotel room, which has been set up, I have an experienced roofball team, like leaning out the window, throwing up their climbing kits, setting up the wires. And of course, we picked a window that faces the desert. So there's no witnesses on this side.
Right. Yes, very good.
So I'm rolling command to set Joan up with my roofball team.
Okay. Yeah. And I feel to some extent also that it's a command in the hotel because you are like by force of personality trying to get up with a boss as well. So it kind of works both ways. Yeah. So I think risky standard. And I think the risk here is just ticks on this like alert clock. I don't think you're immediately gonna face any problem.
Makes sense.
I'm also going to assist.
Okay.
Because there is a detail and a kernel of truth that makes Abbas's story much more much more threatening and also much more believable. And that is the fact that just minutes ago, for some reason, a bottle of spirit essence was sent down to the kitchen, and it's very volatile. And of course, spirit essence is exactly what you would use to poison a vampire.
Yes. Oh, that's perfect.
Excellent.
That's amazing.
A+.
Thank you.
Yeah. In fact, we see now that scene of like the spirit warden finds the volatile spirit essence at the same time that Constable does. They're talking to each other about what's going on, but also the kitchen staff are like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, great. Absolutely.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for the assist. I'm wondering if I should push myself. I don't think so. I will roll risky standard with a bonus die. I'm just doing a setup after all. The important thing is Joan. But I crit, so I roll 1 6 is 2.
Okay. Here's what I will offer only for Vickers. As a crit bonus, which is that you can find a comrade in arms, which is that this woman, you can immediately get her trust if you want this, because she will mention, "Oh no, my girlfriend is just like that." This, like, she will mutter it on her breath, but you can hear her. And if you can commiserate with her, she is absolutely on your side, and you can get her to do things for you if you like.
Okay,
But
that is really fun. I had another idea in mind, but my other idea for a crit bonus was that Joan just put this in the dumbwaiter, and maybe there was food inside, and we actually have poisoned Lord Scurlock's food, and that's the outcome.
Oh, interesting. No, I think the reason that can't work is that we just described that it came down, and they all found it. So whatever that food was would not have been. Yeah.
Okay, no, I will take the kinship with this random restaurant woman. We'll see if it comes in place.
I gotta give this.
Yes, I suppose we
second
just
person also a name. Yeah.
I suppose we just exchange glances and are like, "Yeah, this sucks. What the hell are these people doing?"
Yeah, I think like as she just kind of like says, "I'm so sorry, sir." She just kind of says, "Worst day of my life." First, she kisses some random pirate. Now, like apparently someone's poisoned. Like.
Okay, excellent. I will approach her later, and I will approach Miraz, and we will deal with all this. But the important part is I set Joan up, so Joan has an opportunity to slip completely undetected onto the roof.
Yes, very good.
And I think the roofball team moves very professionally in this case. Like, we see them throw up like the grappling hook to give Joan something to climb up, and then as she's up, they just like dislodge it. It's a whole like super quick operation.
Yeah. So I think that and like this also fills the clock because Joan is now on the roof. Like she, or rather, she's in the perfect position to get to where she needs to be, and from there to the Emperor Suite. So let's say, Joan, that where did I put this clock? That was so weird. Oh yeah, here. So let's say, Joan, that like the role that you want to make now is not just about getting onto the roof, but getting onto like exactly where the Emperor Suite would be.
All right.
So you're at, I think, base. You would be desperate, except you have the roof bolt team looking out for you, so you're up to risky, and you can do this. So you're at base risky standard. Do you want better position or better effect?
Wait. Did you ask, do you want better position or effect, or do you want better position or do you want better effect?
The latter. I'm setting you up, so you get either
Right.
better position or better effect.
Better effect seems fun.
So risky, great. Okay, let's say that with great effect, I will ask you some questions about the Emperor Suite in a second, but let's say that with great effect that you can not just get to the suite, but also make contact with Freya.
All right. Sounds good. I guess what we're seeing is that she's like climbing out of the window, getting onto the roof. There's like a kind of ledge that she has to balance on, but it doesn't seem too much of a problem because she is good-footed. I think that will also give her a bonus die because it's a lot of climbing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a moment where she actually pauses and like looks out over the desert for a moment with, for the first time in a very long time, a pang of like nostalgia to that place.
Yeah.
And then she will move on, and I'm gonna make the roll.
Nice.
And it's a 6.
Oh,
And it's the bonus die
incredible.
that did it.
Yeah,
Across
3,
the
4,
desert.
5, 6.
Across the desert, you can see a train moving past, and for a moment, you remember your past life. Then you see a gigantic bat creature chasing the train, and you're like, okay,
I'm so glad I'm here.
You know what? Yeah. Oh man.
And so blows out our brief candle. I named the disciples of the Ceaseless Temple thus, with both their given names and taken. Soumithri, called Tree. Zoheb, called Klow. Prince, Emma, and Aadiyat, called Soap. Intro music, Jalandhar by Kevin MacLeod. Outro music in Keeravani Ragam by Srinivas. Blades in the Dark by John Harper and Evil Hat Productions. Iruvian playbooks by Johnstone Metzger. Follow us at Desperate Attune on Twitter or email us at desperateattune@gmail.com. Support us at ko-fi.com/desperateattune.
On the next episode of Desperate Attune.
there's a secret clause in the Treaty of Uduasha, drawn up when Uduasha swore fealty to the Emperor, that Lord Scurlock would absolutely not be allowed in any way to tamper with the Holy Flame.
Yeah, that makes sense.
This is why the Spirit One is like, holy shit, it's a diplomatic incident.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah,
Okay.
that makes perfect sense actually. Like, don't
Great.
let the other vampires near the Holy Flame. That's
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.